Hello, TYBSC friends. Once again, I am here to discuss the remaining few questions of chapter 3, that is partial differential equation. This is what we are calling part 2 from the subject paper 1, that is mathematical methods of physics for TYBSC Physics, Savitribai Phule, Pune University, Pune. For the forthcoming university examination, MCQ, choice based, multiple choice based question examination, we are preparing here for some important concepts from this partial differential equation. Here basically we are going to concentrate on the methods, differential equation methods, solution of differential equation methods. Basically we are going to concentrate on this first method, that is the separation of variables method. Then we are going to see some questions based upon the singularities of differential equation. What are the types of singularities, how to deal with the singularities, how to define the singularities, etc. And then we will go actual this series solution method or Frobenius series solution method, our series solution method, where we are going to discuss few aspects of few important differential equation like Legendre, Hermite differential equation, Bessel differential equation. And once we get these type of solutions of these differential equations which are infinite power series, we can truncate or we can reduce this infinite power series into polynomials by using certain boundary conditions. So associated with that, what are the important questions, 2021 questions we are going to discuss here as follows. I hope this will be taken as an in connection with the video on chapter 3 which we have seen earlier, partial differential equation part 1. Now let's come to these questions one by one. Question 1 here, the method of separation of variables. If we have n variables, we have to introduce dash number of separation constants determined by the conditions imposed in the problem being solved. Now this is again a very common example where we have seen in the Cartesian coordinate system, we write this wave function psi, or a function psi is a function of three independent variables x, y, and z. Then in spherical polar coordinate system, we write this psi is a function of this three r, theta, and phi, three variables. As well as in cylindrical coordinate system, we have this psi is a function of rho, phi, and z. So depending upon which type of coordinate system we are using, we can separate this given equation. For example, variable types we have solved this Laplace equation del square psi is equal to 0. Substituting del square here in this equation either from this coordinate system, that is Cartesian, or spherical polar coordinate system, or this is the cylindrical coordinate system. Depending upon that, a particular del square we have to use, and then we have to use this method of separation of variables. Now how many variables are there in the given system, that will be decided by this. Based upon that, we have to go for, if there are n number of variables, then to separate these n variables from each other, we require n minus 1 number of separation variables. So it's a very straightforward question, easy theoretical question. You have to just remember, depending upon the coordinate system we are using, how many coordinates are there, minus number 1 or minus 1, that many number of separation constants will be needed, or separation constants will be needed, or separation variable, this is separation constant. So if I have 3 independent coordinates in a given system, then 3 minus 1 is equal to 2. If I am dealing with 2-dimensional coordinate system, then 2 minus 1, we will require just one separation constant. So this separation constant either we require 1 or 2, etc. depends upon how many number of variables we are having in a particular coordinate system. Again, now choice of this type of separation constant, or the numbers which we are supposed to choose as a constant there, that is again a skill and art. Depending upon the type of problem, it's the symmetry involved in the problem. Sometimes we take this constant to be some lambda, sometimes we take this to be n, sometimes we take to be m square, sometimes we take it to be minus n square, and so many. Now depending upon different equations, differential equations, then it's different types of coordinate system, symmetry of the problem, there is a huge choice of this separation constants what we usually use in case of this particular method of separation of variables. So this is what it is, an art and a skill, that is it requires a skill. So depending upon symmetry, whether it is to be taken m square, whether it is to be taken single lambda or minus or plus, etc., that is all decided. So you have learned all these things in the class, that is separation of variables method. Now question 2, when we solve this Laplace equation in the spherical polar coordinate system, 5-part equation is as follows. So we have to identify which of the option A, B, C and D, which one is the correct option there. Remember, in this case we have to take this del square is taken to be del square psi is equal to 0. This is Laplace equation. So express this del square in the spherical polar coordinate system. Now some of you might be knowing this exactly, spherical polar coordinate system, and in this case we now replace this psi as a function of 3 independent variables r, theta and phi, or we write this psi is a function of r is completely exclusively function of small r, this theta is a function of small theta, exclusively function of small theta, and this capital phi, or sometimes we use t, is a function of small phi. So based upon this, or we can use r, theta and t. So these are the 3 broad variables that are used there, and we have to use this psi in this Laplace equation and apply the method of separation of variables. So doing all these things, first equation we separate, that is called as the 5-part equation, and this 5-part equation is this, that is what we are needed to put this constant in this case to be minus m square, and putting this constant we get this equation E. So d square t upon d phi square plus m square into t is equal to 0. This is called as the 5-part equation. So at home, when we go for this actual method, try to understand how to apply this method of separation of variables for solving Laplace equation in spherical polar coordinate system. What should be the psi that is required there? Then substituting this psi there and separating the variables, we require first constant of this psi m square, and therefore it is minus m square, and therefore first equation comes, it is d square t upon d phi square plus m square t is equal to 0. This is called as the 5-part equation for this Laplace equation in this spherical polar coordinate system. This is not correct. If my choice is plus m square, then this will come here, but that will not suitable. Whereas in this case, this 3rd part equation C, this is called as the r-part equation. So separating this theta and r from each other, we get r-part equation as shown here, that is d square r upon dr square plus 2 upon r into dr upon small dr minus lambda upon r square into capital R is equal to 0. That is called as r-part equation. A is called as 5-part equation, and similarly we get this theta part equation too, which will come in next few problems. Question 3, when we solve Laplace equation in spherical polar coordinates system, the theta part equation is as follows, where lambda and m square are the 2 separation constants. So using these 2 separation constants, we come arrive the equation which is called as the theta part equation. So naturally A already we have seen, this is called as 5-part equation. B, that is d square r upon dr square plus 2 upon r into d capital R upon d small r minus lambda upon r square into capital R is equal to 0. So we have already seen this is what a 5-part equation, then this is the r-part equation, and naturally out of these given 2 options, option 4 is none of this, so option C is, this is nothing but your theta part equation. So this theta part equation is a equation which contains these 2 constants, lambda and the second constant, that is this m square. So both of these constants are contained here. So 1 upon sine theta into d by d theta of bracket sine theta into ds capital S upon d theta bracket complete plus this is lambda minus m square upon sine square theta into capital S is equal to 0. This is called as theta part equation. So that is how solving Laplace equation in this spherical polar coordinate system, we get 5-part equation as shown by equation A, r-part equation as shown by equation B, and theta part equation as shown by this equation, that is C. So correct option of this particular question number 3 is this C as shown here. Now question 4. This is what equation, another equation has been given, del of square psi upon del x square, these are our partial derivatives, plus del of square psi upon del y square, plus del of square psi upon del z square, plus this k square psi is equal to 0. This equation is known as, now if we remember, earlier we have in earlier video we have seen this, del square psi is equal to right hand side is equal to 0, this is called as Laplace equation. Whereas in SPICE1 equation it is del square psi plus some rho upon epsilon 0 or something right hand side which is non-zero but it's not a function of psi. This type of constant is there, that is called as Poisson's equation. Wave equation is a bit different. Wave equation is del square psi plus this omega square upon 1 upon c square. This del square psi is equal to 1 upon c square into del square psi upon del t square, where psi is a function of x and t. This is called as wave equation, and whereas what remains option out of this is that is the Helmholtz equation. So in short, we write this Helmholtz equation is del square psi plus k square, some constant k square into psi is equal to 0. So this is the standard format of this Helmholtz equation, which is very frequently used in thermodynamics as well as it is used in electrodynamics and some other branches of physics. This Helmholtz equation is very frequently used, and that's what this equation given by in question number 4 is basically a Helmholtz equation. Now we apply this del square, or we apply this Helmholtz equation, or we can solve this Helmholtz equation by separation of variables method, either in Cartesian or spherical or cylindrical coordinate system, and based upon that we come across very important equations that are used in physics. One of the case, very important case that we are going to discuss here, when we solve this particular differential equation by the method of separation of variables in coordinate system which is given by r, theta and phi, that is the spherical polar coordinate system. So here this r part equation is basically nothing but your Bessel differential equation. So origin of this Bessel differential equation is there. We have to solve this Helmholtz equation in the spherical polar coordinate system, and out of that r part equation is a standard differential equation which is called as Bessel differential equation. Further, we can solve this Bessel differential equation using Frobenius series solution method, and we get an infinite series, that is called as solution of this Bessel differential equation, infinite solution, and using certain boundary conditions for that we get Bessel polynomial or Bessel function of first kind. So Helmholtz equation, solve it in this with the method of separation of variables in the spherical polar coordinate system. Out of that, r part equation is a standard equation which is named as a Bessel differential equation, and this Bessel differential equation is solved using this method of the Frobenius series solution method. There you have to go for singularity, there you have to go for different types of indicial equation. Based upon that we get solutions. Either one solution is possible, two solutions is possible, or many solutions is possible. That are different cases, and whatever solutions we get in even powers of x or odd powers of x, applying certain boundary conditions, these solutions can be converted into polynomial. So this journey from Helmholtz equation to certain polynomials, Bessel polynomial, this is a long journey. That is a theoretical discussion you might have done in the class in earlier in our discussion. Okay, next. Same question is there, what we have discussed just now. When we solve Helmholtz equation in spherical polar coordinate, the r part equation is, so naturally it is a Bessel differential equation, whereas Legendre differential equation can be obtained by solving this Laplace equation in the spherical polar coordinate system. Hermite differential equation has again its origin in something else. So some is very special equation you have to solve in the one of the coordinate system, and then that gives rise to Hermite differential equation. So to try to identify the ways or the methods or the origins of these type of four standard differential equation, from where we get Legendre, from where we get Hermite, from where we get Labouré, and similarly from where we get this Bessel. So out of that, as we have already discussed, solving Helmholtz equation in spherical polar coordinate system, this r part equation, okay, this is the r part equation, capital R or small r we can use. That equation is called as Bessel differential equation, and as I further use Frobenius Frobenius series solution method here, then we get what is called as Bessel function or Bessel. Actually, it is the solution of the Bessel differential equation, which is going to be an infinite series, and using certain boundary conditions over that, what we get from this Bessel function or Bessel this infinite series is called as Bessel polynomial. So getting this polynomial is this journey what we have discussed just now. Okay. Now question number 6. For a linear homogeneous second order differential equation of the type, this is going to be y double dash. Y double dash is the second differential, partial differential, or this is given by d square some y divided by dx square, and then y dash is nothing but dy by dx, and so on. So for a linear homogeneous second order differential equation of the type y double dash plus some function of x which is called as p of x, which is coefficient of y dash, plus another function q of x into y is equal to 0. This is standard format of equation. This is linear homogeneous second order differential equation. Now we have to go for the point x is equal to x0 is called as an ordinary point if, now if I am replacing this x by x0, and if the either p of x or q of x diverges means this becomes infinity. When we replace x by x0, this function p of x or either q of x, then if it is diverges, then this type of solution is not acceptable, or we call that point to be a singular point, and there is a difficulty in getting the series solution of this type of situations. Whereas here in this particular question we have been asked the given point is an ordinary point. So if this x is equal to x0 is an ordinary point of that equation, then both this p of x and q of x remain finite. So in this equation y double dash plus p of x into y dash plus q of x into y is equal to 0. So every term become finite, everything is finite, and therefore a possibility of getting a solution is there. So the point x is equal to x0, if it is an ordinary point, then both p of x and q of x remain finite when we replace x by x0. If p of x or q of x becomes infinity when we replace x by x0, then such type of differential equation may not have a proper solution. So option B and option C both are incorrect, even option D is also incorrect. So if it is anything of that differential equation becomes infinite by substituting x by x0, then it is useless, that is not useful for us, and therefore such point is called as an ordinary point when this option is satisfied. That is, if both p of x and q of x remain finite at x is equal to x0, then the point x is equal to x0 is called as an ordinary point of this equation y double dash plus p of x into y dash plus q of x into y is equal to 0. Now next few questions are basically based upon this part again, so we'll go one by one here. The point x is equal to x0 is called as a singular point. Okay? A singularity is not even defined, is called as a singular point of y double dash plus p of x into y dash plus q of x into y is equal to 0 if p of x, option A is if p of x remains finite but q of x diverges. If second other possibility is that p of x remains constant or q of x remains constant or same but or finite, but the another first coefficient, that is p of x, diverges, and both p of x as well as q of x diverges. So either one of this or both of these simultaneously, if they are diverging when we replace x by x0, then this is called as a singular point, and this is the situation called as singularity. That means this entire equation diverges. So this equation diverges and there is no possibility of getting the solution of this type of differential equation. Therefore, we have to avoid this we have to avoid this making any of the term inside this differential equation to be infinity, and to avoid that we have to go for further process and so on. Such a point where x0, where this any of this equation either p of x or q of x or both becomes infinity, then such point is called as a singular point, and therefore option A is correct, option B is correct, even option C is correct, and therefore option D in all above cases mentioned are found to be correct. So the point x is equal to x0 is called as a singular point of this equation if option A is there possible, option B is possible, option C is possible. All these A, B, C are true. Therefore, option D is the correct option is of question number 7. That in all cases mentioned, that point is called as a singular point of the given differential equation. Next, question number 8. The point x is equal to x0 is called as a regular singular. Now we are differentiating this regular singular, or some books are using another word that is non-essential singular point. So regular singular point or non-essential singular point of y double dash plus p of x into y dash plus p of x into y is equal to 0 if either, that means either p of x as well as p of x or both are diverging, and still we require further condition. Option A is x minus x0 raised to 1 of this bracket into p of x, and x minus x0 into q of x both remain finite. Then option B is x minus x0 into p of x and x minus x0 square into q of x remain finite. Then option C is x minus x0 square into p of x and x minus x0. So this power index has been changed here. X minus x0 into q of x remains finite. And D option is x minus x0 square into p of x and x minus x0 square into p of x remain finite. That means if this singular point x0 is replaced there, and if I go for either of these calculations which remain finite, then such a point is called as the regular singular point. So from our earlier knowledge of this regular singular point, option B is the most correct option on this. Actually, it is the actual correct option here. In the first case, this power is required there, but this is not there. 2 is not there, therefore this is not correct. In the option C, first x minus x0 square into I require here to be index 1 and x minus x0 square into q of x. So this is also not true. And here in both the cases square is there. So this is also not true. So the correct answer of question number 8 is B. X. This is the condition for a regular singular point. So we have to prove that x minus x0 into p of x as well as x minus x0 square into q of x remain finite, and then we can go for the solution which is called as the Frobenius series solution method. These are the standard conditions which are called as first rule or first method to decide whether this series Frobenius series solution is possible or not. That will be decided by these particular factors here. So this is a regular singular point. Along with that, there is irregular singular point too, and this irregular singular point we know that x up 1 upon x minus x0 into p of x. Okay, irregular singular. So this is the first one. Is this case is the regular singular or non-essential. In case of essential singularity or regular singularity, this is the irregular singularity. Second type of this irregular singularity, we know this condition 1 upon x minus x0 into p of x, whether it remains finite or become infinity, as well as 1 upon x minus x0 square into q of x. So this either it goes to infinity or it remains finite. Based upon that, we call that given point to be a irregular singular point or essential singularity. And if this is the case, then there is no guarantee we will get a solution for such type of differential equation using this Frobenius series solution method. So usually solution for a given differential equation using this Frobenius series solution method is not possible, provided the point of expansion is an irregular singular point or essential singularity. So this is all the theoretical part you might have discussed earlier in your classes. Question number 9. The method of solving differential equation which consists of obtaining a solution in the form of power series in the independent variables with constant coefficient is called. Okay, this is what is straightforward. Green function method, it is not, it is totally different. Separation of variables method, we have already seen, this only separates, but we have to apply different methods for solving these differential equations later on. So separation of method variables is not there. Integral transform method is, and again altogether different, that doesn't constitute or doesn't require this type of methods there. And naturally this method is called as Frobenius series solution method. So we have to assume for a given differential equation, if a certain point x0 is given to be its point of expansion or its regular singular point or ordinary point, then this particular method guarantees or this method tells you that there can be a solution of the form that is summation over n equal to 0 to infinity. We have to assume that y to be a power series given by some an times x raised to n plus k, and here this a0 is not taken to be 0. So assuming this to be a solution, we can apply we can go for the getting the power series solution of that, and that method is called as Frobenius series solution method. So in class you might have seen certain such examples how to go for this Frobenius series solution method for different types of differential equations in the class earlier. So we won't repeat all these things here. Next, question number 10. According to first theorem, if the point of expansion is an ordinary point, then the equation, this is the simplest, then the equation y double dash plus q of x into y dash plus q of x into y is equal to 0. That possesses two independent solutions. That means differential equation and this x is equal to x0 is an ordinary point, then we will get two independent solutions. This is what a rule, or that is the theorem, that is called as this first theorem. On the other hand, if this differential equation and there is a singular point, x is equal to x0 is a singular point, then there is a chance we will get at least one series solution, one power series solution. And if it is an irregular singular, then there won't be any power series solution for that. And this entire theorem is called as first theorem. Next few problems are just based upon this fact again. So according to question number 11, so question number 10 option is A. Question number 11, according to first theorem, if the point of expansion is a regular singular point, then the equation y double dash plus q of x into y dash plus q of x into y is equal to 0 possesses, now not two celebrations are not possible, that is case of the ordinary point, then the at least one, this is the correct option. So there is at least one, possesses at least one power series solution in the, or one solution in the power series. That is what the second option B is correct option. Option D and option C are not at all correct here. So this question number 11 correct option is at least one power series solution is possible provided the given point is a regular singular point. Then question number 12, according to first theorem, if the point of expansion is an irregular singular point, then the equation y double dash plus q of x into y dash plus q of x into y is equal to 0. Dash dash solutions in the power series. So possesses at least two, this is not correct. Possesses at least one, this is also not correct. So this is for ordinary, as we have seen. This is for regular singular. Many solutions are never possible, and this particular method doesn't guarantee whether we will get a solution, power series solution for a given differential or not. That's why option D is correct. May or may not possess solution in the power series. So provided the point of expansion given is an irregular singular point, then this Frobenius series solution method does not guarantee we will get a solution there. That's why option D is most correct, that is may or may not possess a solution in the power series. That's again a theoretical question. Now here onwards we will move to this actual Frobenius series solution method, and some few questions over the based upon that on 13, question number 13 onwards. So if the differential equation is of the type y double dash plus q of x into y plus q of x into y is equal to 0, then according to Frobenius, this solution of above equation is written in the form of power series x with constant coefficients as follows. This is again a memory question. You are not needed to calculate anything here. We have to just remember which power series will represent as the correct solution of the given differential equation here. So option A is y is equal to summation over n equal to minus infinity to plus infinity n times x raised into x minus x0 into raised to n plus k, where this x0 is this called as singular point of the ordinary point of this given differential equation, and almost in every case this condition a0 should not be equal to 0. That means this first coefficient of this power series must not be 0, otherwise this y will be equal to 0. So this is first is option is n equal to minus infinity to plus infinity n times this bracket. Second option B is y is equal to summation over again minus infinity to plus infinity. So this will have negative terms again. So it is n times x minus x0 raised to n minus k. So this is not correct here. And here option C is y is equal to summation over n equal to 0 to infinity an times x minus x0 raised to n plus k, where this a0 is not equal to 0. So this is the correct power series we use usually in case of these Frobenius series solution method. So remember, n equal to 0 to infinity, not minus infinity or plus infinity or anything. It is 0 to infinity an times x minus x0 raised to n plus k, where k is any number or the coefficient, sorry, a number. This n is the power and an is the coefficient. So a0, a1, a2, a3, etc. can be calculated, and this becomes a power series that can be a solution of the differential equation. And therefore, everywhere this a0 is not equal to 0, this must be there. Otherwise, in some cases, if this is not given, then it is not guaranteed that the given power series may be used as a series solution in that case. Last option D, y is equal to summation of n equal to 0 to infinity, again x minus x0 raised to n plus k. So this is wrong here, n minus k is also wrong here, n plus k should be there, x minus x0 should be there, and this n should begin with n equal to 0 to infinity. So n terms will be there, and that will be calculated as shown by this C. So correct option of this question number 13 is C, as given to be in the method of Frobenius series solution method. We have to assume the solution is of the form y is equal to n is equal to 0 to infinity an times x minus x0 raised to n plus k, where a0 is not equal to 0. Now question 14. The legendary differential equation in the Frobenius series solution method, the recurrence relation is. So we have to go for this method. You have to find out its assuming that solution y in this power series, substitute this y double dash, y triple dash. Then out of this given differential equation, after substitution of this y dash, y double dash, and y itself in the power series, we have to go for the initial equation. Based upon initial equation, we have to go for what type of different types of initial equations or cases may be there. Depending upon case, we can go for different types of recurrence relation. That means if previous coefficient in that power series is known, next coefficient can be calculated. So here we have, again, this is a theoretical equation based upon memory. So we have to identify which is the best fit recurrence relation for this legendary differential equation in this case. So remember here, option A is A, n plus 2 is equal to n plus k into n plus k plus 1 minus l into l plus 1 upon n plus k plus 2 into n plus k plus 1 into a. That is the correct option of this question. Whereas here it is to be a n plus 2 and this is a n. This is not correct. Right hand side everything is the same. Here it is written as a n plus 2, and there here this minus sign has been replaced by plus sign. So this is also not correct. This is not correct. And this an is this is also not correct. That means first I have to know an plus 2, then I can find out an. So this type of reverse relation itself is also not possible. So theoretically correct answer of this question is that an plus 2 can be calculated by n plus k into n plus k plus 1 minus l into l plus 1 upon n plus k plus 2 into n plus k plus 1 into an. That means knowing a0, I can find out a2, knowing a1, I can find out a3, knowing a3, I can find out a5, knowing a2, I can find out a4, and all these coefficients from a0 and a1, that means a0 is known, a1, that means a0 and a1 are known, then a2, a3, a4, all even and odd coefficients can be find out using this, and then it is very easy to get the solution of the legendary differential equation in the Frobenius power series solution method. Okay. Now next question is again here also, in case of Hermite differential equation, similar. In Frobenius series solution method, the recurrence relation is. Here also we have to go for a clear cut. This is again a theoretical question based upon the memory. So it is an plus 2 is equal to, option A is an plus 2 is equal to twice n plus k minus lambda upon n plus k plus 2 into the bracket an plus k plus 1 into an. Then this is option B is a n by 2 is equal to, right hand side is exactly same as per earlier option A. Then a n plus 2 is equal to, this is 2 into n plus k, and here this chain of lambda has been changed. Otherwise numerator denominator is the same with this multiplication of an, and this is again a2n is equal to this an. So this is not a correct relationship. So this is not correct. This is not correct. Here it is not correct. So again option A is correct in this case. So this recurrence relation in case of Hermite differential equation in the Frobenius series solution method is given by an plus 2 is equal to 2 into n plus k minus lambda upon n plus k plus 2 into the bracket n plus k plus 1 into an. That means knowing a1 I can find out a3, knowing a2 I can find out a4, and like that all other higher coefficients can be obtained, and that's why it is called as a recurrence relation for the Hermite differential equation. Now based upon that, next problem I have taken is exactly similar to this. Replacing this, now there are several cases as we say. So for the Hermite differential equation in Frobenius series solution method, for the given case k is equal to 0 and a1 is also equal to 0. So in this recurrence relation, if I write k is equal to 0 and a1 is also equal to 0, then what will happen here? I'll get this relationship. If I write k is equal to 0 and a1 is equal to 0, this equation here, this equation can be given as an plus 2 is equal to 2 into n minus lambda, k is 0 there, upon n plus 2 into n plus 1 into an. This is called as a recurrence relation for this particular case. When as I am given a1 is equal to 0, if a1 is given to 0, if a1 is written here, I will get a3 there. If I am writing a3 here, then I will get a5 there. So this once a1 is equal to 0, all a3, then a5, then a7, a9, etc., etc., all odd coefficient will vanish. That's why this option is also one correct option. That means in this case, k is equal to 0 and a1 is equal to 0, this recurrence relation an plus 2 is equal to 2 into n minus lambda upon n plus 2 into n plus 1 into an gives me all an plus 2 will be 0 provided a1 is 0, a1 is 0, a3 will be 0, a3 is 0, a5 is 0. So all order coefficients directly vanish in this case. Whereas if I go for another even coefficients, that means when I put n is equal to 2, so that is a2, 2 into 2 minus lambda upon 2 plus 2 into 2 plus 1. So if I go for this type of calculations, I will find here, I will get this particular constant a2, or when I put a, that means n is equal to 0, if I put here, then I will get this left hand side is a2, 0 plus 2 is 2 plus, 0 plus 2 is a2, 2 there. So a2 is equal to 2 into minus lambda, n is 0 there, upon 2 into 1. So in this case, this is 0 as well as this is 0, 2 into 1 is 2 factorial, and this is lambda here. So I'll get this to be minus 2 lambda upon 2 factorial. So it is actually this multiplied by this a0 is there. I'll get this first term. Similarly, when I put n is equal to 2, I can substitute this n equal to 2 there. Therefore, it becomes a4 is equal to, and doing all these calculations, we will get this to be minus 2 lambda upon this time 2 factorial into a0. And remember, this is how I can get even coefficient a2, a4, a6 and all that can be obtained, and that's what the even coefficients a2, a4, etc., can be obtained using the same relation as we have shown here. So both statements A and B are true. So this is true as well as this statement is true, and both option D, both statements A and B are false. So this is not correct. So correct option of this question number 16 is C. Both the statements A and B are true in this case as shown by this particular example. Now question number 17. In Bessel differential equation, this is the form of Bessel differential equation earlier we have seen, x square into y double dash plus x into y dash plus x square minus n square into y is equal to 0. If n is not an integer, this is one speciality of this equation, then we get two series solution. Then option B is method has fails to give a series solution. If we go give option C is we get only one series solution, and D is none of these. So in our textbook, please read this entire paragraph below this Bessel differential equation. We will get correct answer of this question is this E. We get two series solution provided this n is not an integer here. If it is an integer, then naturally we get the we get only one series solution there. So these are the different possibilities are possible depending upon this n in given in the differential equation, and that is to be read in this particular paragraph that will give you answer. So correct answer of this question number 17 is A. We get two series solution provided this n is not an integer. If it is an integer, some option B, C, D may be correct there. So that is what we have to identify and we have to remember from this. Now question number 18. the series solution of Legendre differential equation with only even powers of x is expressed as y is equal to a0 times in the bracket 1 minus l into l plus 1 upon 2 factorial into x square plus it is l into l minus 2 into l plus 1 into l plus 3 upon 4 factorial multiplied by x raised to 4. Similarly, next term also I can calculate. This is l into l minus 2 into l minus 4 into l plus 1 into l plus 3 into l plus 5 upon 6 factorial into x raised to 6 likewise. So alternate plus and minus terms will be there. This is what given series, infinite series for a even powers of x. When we put value of L is equal to 2, so what will happen when I put value of L is equal to 2? So these terms onwards, it contains L minus 2, it will be 2 minus 2 will be 0. So onwards all these terms, they will contain this L minus 2, so all these terms vanish. So what remains is only this A0 into this L into L plus 1 upon 2 factorial into x square. So when I substitute this L equal to 2 in this equation, what I will get, that is to be calculated, and therefore y is equal to A0 into the bracket 1 minus L is 2 into 2 plus 1 divided by 2 factorial into x square. So just solve this, I will get this is A0 into the bracket 1 minus 2 into 2 plus 1 is 3 into 2 is 6 upon 2 and multiplied by x square. So solving this will get A0 times 1 minus 6 upon 2 is 3x square. So what we will get is this option B. That is how in this power series, infinite power series, putting this condition that L is equal to all the terms except this first and second, all terms will vanish and that will give you 0, 0, 0 everywhere except first two terms, and what we get, that is called as the Legendre polynomial. So it is A0 times 1 minus 3x square and so on. Now there is a condition that this A0 is an arbitrary constant. It can be taken in such a way that if we, for a given value of x here, when we put x here, I should get y is equal to 1. Accordingly, we have to choose this A0, and once this A0 is selected, what we get is called as Legendre polynomial of degree L is equal to 2. That is theoretical discussion again. That is what we are not going to discuss here once more. So from this infinite series, I get a polynomial that is A0 times 1 minus 3x square. Actually, this is not called Legendre polynomial. We have to adjust this value of A0 such that for value of x is equal to 1, this y will be equal to 1, and accordingly this A0 is to be selected. Then rewrite this equation, and what we get is called as Legendre polynomial of degree L equal to 2. Okay, that's further things we are going to discuss there. Then this is what, after doing this question number 90 is identify the Legendre polynomial of degree L equal to 2. Same as I said. So in earlier case, let's see what we got. We have said this y is equal to A0 times 1 minus 3x square. Now for this x is equal to 1, we have to select y is equal to 1 again. So write this equation, 1 is equal to A0 times 1 minus, now this is 3 into x square, x is 1, so square, and therefore this gives me 1 is equal to A0 into the bracket 1 minus 3, and that's what it gives me, minus 2 times A0, or therefore A0 is equal to minus this is 1 upon 2. So substitute this 1 upon 2, and that what we get is this. Therefore I'll get this P2 of x will be, or that is what I will get this to be A0, substituting A0 here, minus 1 by 2 into the bracket 1 minus 3x square. When I substitute this, or when these signs are changed, this will become 3x square minus 1, okay, 3x square minus 1, and this entire thing is to be divided by 1 by 2, and therefore this P2x Legendre polynomial of degree L equal to 2 can be obtained by using that condition for that x equal to 1. In that equation, I adjust A0 such that y will be equal to 1, get the value of A0, substitute it there, and get the Legendre polynomial of degree L equal to 2. Therefore, correct option of this A, B, C and D here, this is P2x. So naturally P0x is 1, P1x is simply x, P2x is 1 by 2 into 3x square minus 1. Similarly, one can obtain this P3x, which is given by 1 by 2 times 5x cubed minus 5x, and all these Legendre polynomials can be plotted. Once we plot all these polynomials, we get further graph which is shown here in this question number 20. So naturally, question number 20, I have taken this diagram from Wikipedia. This is a plot of the Legendre polynomials for different values of L. So P0, P1, P2, P3, etc. So from that we can identify this is P0, okay, straight line which is at 1. Okay, for all values of x from minus 1 to plus 1, this is giving me value constant, that is 1. So I'll get this to be P0. On the other hand, this, okay, orange, this is nothing but my P1 of x, Legendre polynomial degree L equal to 1. This is P0 of x. Then this green is P2 of x, and so on. So thus we can identify different Legendre polynomials on this graph. That means if plotted, I'll get these type of different curves. So P0x is a straight line parallel to x-axis. P1x is the line passing through origin. So for positive x direction, it is positive. For negative x values, it is negative. Again, so that is having a slope equal to 1. So straight line passing through origin and passing through a point. This is point called as 1, 1. So this value of x is 1 as well as value of P1x is also equal to 1. So this is value of 1, 1. This point, this is passing through this. So identify this is P2x, this is P1x, this is P0x, remaining is P3, etc. All these things can be calculated here. So we have to plot this graph. We have to find out the parity of P1x. So here we have seen this is P1x, and what we say parity, when this parity operator is operated on a given function, suppose this function f of x, and if there is a change in the sign of that function f of x, we call it to be a odd parity. That function is said to have odd parity, or this operator p of x operates on this given function f of x, and there is no change in the sign of the function, then it is said to have odd parity. So from this graph we see this for this region, for this values from x equal to 0 to plus 1, x is equal to this p1 of x is positive, whereas when this x is replaced by minus x, this is parity operation, x is replaced by minus x. For example, for this value, if this is the plus x value, this is minus x value, it becomes negative. For next value also it becomes, this is minus x, this is this value, and for minus 1 I will get this is the value here. So that is shown here, this is this value. That means here when I replace x by minus x, this p1 of x changes its sign. That is what the line here above in the positive quadrant, first quadrant, and the line here that is in the third quadrant, which is the reflected image will change the direction, and that's why it is said to have odd parity. Therefore options are given. The polynomial has even parity, the polynomial has odd parity, the polynomial has even as well as odd parity, and none of these. So this is not correct, this is not correct, and this diagram shows me that the polynomial, the p1x we have been asked, which is has an odd parity, whereas the polynomials which are having even parity is this is the polynomial p0x which is having even parity. That means changing x by minus x, it doesn't change its sign. Even this green function, okay, seen here, even I am changing x by minus x, so sign of the function this particular p on x remains same, and that's how, that means earlier it is negative here it is also negative. If I take this to be positive here, then here also to be positive. If I take 1 plus 1 here, minus 1 is also plus, same of the same side. So this p2 of x has even parity, p0 of x has odd parity, then p1 of x we have seen, sorry, this is also p0x has even, this has odd. Then if I go for p3 of x, this also have odd parity. So even Legendre polynomials have even parity or positive parity, and odd Legendre polynomials will have odd parity. So that is to be understood from this diagram. So plot this diagram, identify the parities, identify the different types of polynomials and so on. So in examination, maybe this type of diagrams will be given, and you are asked to find out, or we are asked to name the polynomials which are shown by these different curves and so on. So this is what the question number 20, and the last question probably will come here. The following are the first few Hermite polynomials. So you have to identify h2 of x. So here also we have to go for this identification of Hermite polynomials, and this shows you that actually this first Hermite polynomial h0 x is also equal to 1, then h1 of x is equal to 2x, then h2 of x is equal to 4x square minus 2, and h3 of x is equal to 8x cube minus 12x. So I can very easily identify this is not given, you are given this, but this is h1x, so this is your h1x, this is h2 of x, and this is h3 of x. So naturally this is the correct answer of this question number 21, where we have identified this is the polynomial or the Hermite polynomial of degree L equal to n equal to 2. So it is 4x square minus 2. That is how these are the few important questions I thought which may be helpful for you while solving MCQs which will be asked in the coming examination. I hope this part 1, part 2 and part 1 based upon this particular chapter number 3, that is partial differential equation, this will help you lot in the coming examination. And here that is how I am finishing this mathematical methods of physics. So no more videos will be presented there henceforth. So thank you for patience listening and watching. Let's take a break here. Thank you all.